A weak dragon lay on the ground, bleeding, barely breathing. Around it, giant dinosaurs circled slowly. Hungry, patient, waiting. One step forward, ready to end it. But then, a voice echoed through the jungle. Stop. The dinosaurs froze. A single human walked out of the trees. No armor, no army, just the man. And somehow, he wasn't afraid. The jungle was not silent. It was never silent. Every tree, every shadow, every breath of wind carried danger. This land belonged to the dinosaurs. Huge, powerful creatures that rule without mercy. Nothing weak survived here for long. And today, something very weak had made a terrible mistake. Deep in the thick jungle, beneath tall trees and heavy vines, a young dragon lay on the ground. It was barely moving. Its dark scales were covered in dirt and blood. One of its wings was torn badly, bent in a way it should never bend. Each breath it took was slow, painful, shaky. It had tried to escape, tried to fly, but it had failed. Now it was trapped. The dragon's eyes moved slowly, filled with fear and confusion. It was too young, too weak, too alone. This jungle was not its home, and it had learned that too late. A low growl echoed through the trees. Then another, and another. They were coming. From the shadows, massive shapes began to appear. One by one, the dinosaurs stepped into the open. Huge bodies, heavy steps, sharp teeth. Hunters. They did not rush. They did not need to. The dragon tried to move, pushing its claws into the ground. It wanted to stand, to run, to fight, but its body refused. Pain shot through its wing, and it collapsed again with a weak cry. The dinosaurs noticed. Of course they did. They moved closer, slowly, carefully, like they were enjoying this moment. One of them, bigger than the rest, stepped forward. Its eyes locked onto the dragon. Cold, empty, certain. This was the leader. It let out a deep, rumbling sound that shook the ground. The others spread out, forming a circle around the dragon. No escape. The jungle seemed to hold its breath. The dragon lifted its head one last time. Its chest rose as it tried to roar, to show strength to scare them away. But what came out was weak, broken, a small, fading sound that barely reached the trees. The dinosaurs didn't step back. They stepped closer, closer, closer. The leader opened its jaws slightly, showing rows of sharp teeth. Its massive foot pressed into the ground as it prepared to strike. The dragon's eyes slowly closed. This was the end. No sky, no freedom, no second chance. Just darkness. Then, a sound, not a roar, not a growl, a voice. Stop. It was calm, clear, and completely out of place. The dinosaurs froze. Every head turned at once toward the trees. Something was moving. Branches shifted. Leaves rustled. Footsteps slow and steady. The jungle itself seemed confused. Who would walk into this? Who would step between hunters and their prey? The answer came out of the shadows. A man. Just a man. No massive claws. No thick scales. No towering size. He was small compared to them. Weak by every rule of this jungle. And yet, he walked forward, step by step, not rushing, not hiding, not afraid. The dinosaurs watched him closely, their bodies tensed, unsure what to do. Humans didn't come here, and if they did, they didn't last. The man stopped a few steps away from the dragon, from the circle, from death itself. For a moment, no one moved. The leader dinosaur lowered its head slightly, studying him. Its eyes narrowed, trying to understand. Was this food? Was this a threat? The man said nothing. His eyes moved from one dinosaur to another, watching, thinking, calculating. The dragon slowly opened its eyes again. Its vision was blurry, fading, but it saw him, a shape standing between it and the end. It didn't understand. Why would something so small, so fragile, stand there? Why wasn't he running? Why wasn't he afraid? The wind shifted softly, carrying the scent of blood and tension. The man took one more step forward, closer to the dinosaurs, closer to danger. The leader let out a low growl in warning, a clear message, leave or die. But the man didn't move back. He didn't even flinch. Instead, he stood his ground. The circle tightened again. The dinosaurs began to move, slowly, testing him, waiting for fear, waiting for weakness. But the man showed none. Behind him, the dragon struggled to breathe. In front of him, death waited with open jaws. And still, he didn't run. The jungle had seen many things. Power, violence, survival. But this was different. A single human, standing alone, between a dying dragon and a pack of killers. The question hung heavy in the air. Why was he here? And more importantly, why wasn't he running? The man did not move back. He stepped forward, one step, then another, until he stood fully between the dragon and the dinosaurs. The ground felt smaller now. The air felt heavier. Every sound in the jungle faded, as if the world itself was watching. Behind him, the dragon struggled to breathe. In front of him, death waited. The dinosaurs reacted instantly. Low growls filled the air. Their bodies tensed. Tails swung slowly, heavy and dangerous. They were not used to this. Humans did not stand like this. Humans ran. Humans hid. Humans screamed. But this one stood still. The leader dinosaur took a slow step forward. Its massive foot crushed leaves and branches under its weight. Its eyes stayed locked on the man, testing him, trying to understand. The man did not raise a weapon. He did not shout. He simply watched. His eyes moved from one dinosaur to another. He counted them, measured the distance, studied their movement. He was thinking. The leader let out a deep growl, louder this time. A warning, a challenge. Still, the man did not react. A tense silence followed. Then suddenly, the leader lunged forward slightly. Not a full attack, just a test. A quick move meant to scare him. Any normal human would have stepped back, but not this one. The man didn't move an inch. No fear, no panic, just calm. The dinosaur stopped, its head tilted slightly. Confused, this was not normal. The rest of the pack began to shift. They circled wider, slower now, watching both the man and the dragon. They were unsure. And in this jungle, being unsure was dangerous. The man slowly reached behind him. The dinosaurs noticed immediately. Their growls grew louder. Muscles tightened. They were ready to strike if needed. But the man did not pull out a weapon. Instead, he took out a small torch. It was simple. A wooden stick wrapped at the end. Dark, cold, useless for now. He held it calmly in one hand. The leader stepped closer again, more confident this time. Its jaws opened slightly, showing its long, sharp teeth. The message was clear. This ends now. The man took a slow breath. Then he moved, not toward the dinosaurs, but slightly to the side, positioning himself better, creating space. His eyes never left them. Then, with a quick motion, he struck the torch against a hard stone tied to his belt. A spark, small, but enough. Again, another spark. Then, fire. A small flame came to life at the tip of the torch. It flickered weakly at first, then grew stronger. The light danced across the man's face. The jungle changed. The dinosaurs reacted instantly. Several of them stepped back. Their growls turned uncertain. Fire. They knew it. They feared it. The leader did not retreat, but it stopped moving forward. Its eyes locked onto flame. Watching it carefully, the man lifted the torch slightly. Not an attack, but as a warning. The flame crackled softly, but in the silence of the moment, it sounded loud, alive, dangerous. The man took one step forward. This time, the dinosaurs moved back, just a little, but enough. The balance had changed. The man had no claws, no size, no strength like them, but he had something else, something they did not understand. Fire. The leader growled again, louder now, trying to regain control of the situation. It stomped the ground, sending vibrations through the dirt. The pack responded. They tightened their circle again, but they moved slower this time, more careful, more aware. The man turned slightly, making sure the dragon stayed behind him, protecting it. Even now, the dragon watched through half-closed eyes, confused, weak, but aware. This human, he was not leaving. The wind shifted again, feeding the flame. The torch burned brighter. The man waved it slightly, creating a line of fire between him and the nearest dinosaur. That one backed away quickly. A sharp hiss escaped its mouth. The others noticed. They were learning. Fire meant pain. Fire meant danger. The man used that. He stepped forward again, pushing the line outward, expanding the space, claiming ground that was not his. The jungle had never seen this before. A human controlling predators. But the moment did not last long. The leader dinosaur was not afraid. Not truly. It had seen fire before. And it knew something important. Fire could not be everywhere. The man was only one. The leader let out a loud, sharp roar. Not fear. A command. The pack froze. Then slowly, they began to spread out. Wider. Farther apart. Surrounding from every side. Their movements became more organized, more focused. They were adapting. The man noticed immediately. His eyes sharpened. His grip on the torch tightened. They were not confused anymore. They were planning. The flame could stop one, maybe two, but not all of them. Not at once. The circle grew larger, but also more dangerous. Each dinosaur found a position. Each one waited. Silent. Still, watching. The jungle held its breath again. The dragon let out a weak sound behind him. It could feel it too. Something was coming. The man slowly turned his head, checking every direction. No escape. No backup. Just him and the fire. The leader stepped back slightly, then lowered its head. A signal. The pack tensed. Muscles tightened. Claws dug into the ground. Eyes locked on the man. All of them. At once. The man stood still, alone, surrounded. The flame flickered in his hand, small against the darkness. The silence broke. A low, rising growl came from every direction. Not one, not two, all of them. Together, the pack was ready. Not to test, not to scare, but to attack. All at once, the growl rose from every side. Low, deep, and deadly. The dinosaurs were ready. All at once, the man stood still, the small flame in his hand flickering against the darkness. His eyes moved quickly, scanning the ground, the trees, the shadows. He knew something important. If they attacked together, he would not survive. So he had to change that. He had to break them, not with strength, but with thought. The leader gave a sharp roar, and the attack began. 2 dinosaurs rushed first from the left, fast and heavy, their jaws wide open. The man moved instantly. Not back. To the side. He swung the torch low and struck it against the ground. Dry leaves caught fire. Flames spread quickly in a thin line. The rushing dinosaurs skidded to a stop, hissing as the fire blocked their path. At the same time, another one came from behind. The man heard it. Heavy steps. Fast. He turned and threw a handful of mud straight at its eyes. The wet dirt hit hard. The dinosaur roared in anger, shaking its head, blinded for a moment. That moment was enough. The man ran. Not far, just enough. He moved toward a part of the ground that looked darker, softer. He had seen it earlier. Wet earth, unstable, a trap waiting to happen. Behind him, the dinosaurs regrouped. Their growls grew louder. They were no longer unsure. Now they were angry, and anger made them careless. Exactly what the man wanted. He grabbed a broken branch and slammed it hard against a tree. Thud, thud, thud. The loud sound echoed through the jungle. The dinosaurs reacted instantly. Noise meant movement. Movement meant prey. One of them charged toward the sound. Alone, the man stepped back at the last second. The dinosaur's heavy foot hit the soft ground. It sank slightly, just enough to lose balance. It stumbled forward with a loud crash. Not trapped, but slowed. Confused, the man didn't attack. He didn't need to. He had already done enough. The rest of the pack hesitated. They were no longer moving as one. They were reacting one by one. The leader noticed. It let out a sharp, angry roar, trying to pull them back together. But it was too late. The pattern was broken. Another dinosaur rushed in from the right, trying to catch the man off guard. The man lifted the torch and waved it fast, creating sparks. Then he threw the torch toward a pile of dry branches. Fire burst up suddenly. Bright, hot. The dinosaur stopped mid-charge, startled by the sudden flame. It backed away with a hiss. The man moved again, always moving, never staying still. He picked up a stone and threw it hard into the bushes on the far side. Crash! The sound pulled another dinosaur away from him. Now they were scattered, split, separated. The jungle became a maze of confusion. Growls came from different directions. Footsteps crossed each other. The pack had lost its rhythm, and the man saw his chance. His eyes locked onto the leader, the biggest one, the strongest one, the one holding the pack together. If that one fell, the rest would break. The leader stepped forward again, more careful now. It had learned. It watched the man closely, not rushing this time. But the man wanted it to move. He needed it to follow. So he did something risky. He stepped closer to it, slowly, calmly. The torch still burned in his hand. The leader growled low, lowering its head, a warning. But the man didn't stop. He took another step, and another. Then suddenly, he turned and ran, fast, not away from danger, but toward it, toward the unstable ground. The leader reacted instantly. It chased him, heavy steps shaking the earth, branches breaking. The man didn't look back. He counted his steps. 1, 2, 3. He knew the spot. At the last moment, he jumped to the side. The leader didn't. Its massive weight crashed onto the soft ground. Crack! The earth gave way. The dinosaur roared as one of its legs sank deep into the mud. It struggled to pull free, but the ground held tight. The more it moved, the deeper it sank. A trap, not perfect, but enough. The man stood at a distance, breathing hard, watching carefully. The leader thrashed, roaring louder than before. Angry, frustrated, but stuck. The rest of the pack froze. They saw it. Their leader, trapped. Their strongest, struggling. Uncertainty returned. Fear followed. One by one, they stepped back, slowly, quietly. No one moved forward now. No one attacked. The jungle shifted again. The balance had changed. The man picked up another branch, lighting it from a fallen torch. Now he'd fire again. He stepped forward slightly, not attacking, but holding his ground. The message was clear. This was no longer easy prey. This was danger. The trapped leader let out one final, angry roar. But it was different now. Not a command. A warning. The pack understood. They began to retreat. Slowly at first, then faster. Backing away into the trees. Into the shadows. Gone. The jungle fell silent once more. Only the sound of the trapped leader struggling remained. Until even that faded into the distance as it finally pulled itself free and disappeared. The man stood there, still holding the flame, alone again, but this time alive. Behind him, the dragon shifted weakly, still injured, still fragile, but safe. For now, the man looked toward the trees where the dinosaurs had vanished. His eyes stayed sharp, because he knew something important. This was not the end. They were gone, but not defeated. And in a place like this, predators always return. The jungle was quiet again. Not peaceful, but quiet. The man stood still for a moment, listening. His eyes scanned the trees, the shadows, the ground. He waited, making sure the dinosaurs were truly gone. Only when the silence stayed did he finally move. Slowly, he turned around. The dragon was still there, weak, bleeding, barely holding on. Its chest rose and fell in uneven breaths. Its torn wing lay twisted on the ground, stained dark. Its eyes were half open, but still watching him. The man took one careful step forward. The dragon reacted instantly. With a sudden burst of fear and pain, it lifted its head and let out a broken snarl. Its jaws opened, showing sharp teeth, trying to look dangerous, trying to protect itself. But the movement cost it. Pain shot through its body. It collapsed again with a weak cry. The attack never came. The man stopped. He didn't step closer. He didn't raise his weapon. He simply stood there, calm, still. The dragon's breathing grew faster. Its eyes stayed locked on him, filled with fear and confusion. Why was he still there? Why didn't he attack? Everything in this jungle attacked. Everything hunted. Everything killed. But this one just watched. The man slowly lowered the torch in his hand. Then, gently, he placed it on the ground. The flame still burned, but it was no longer between them. He raised both of his hands, slightly. Empty. No weapon. No threat. Just a silent message. I'm not here to hurt you. The dragon didn't understand his words, but it understood something else. His actions. The man took another step forward. Slow. Careful. Every movement controlled. The dragon tense again, ready to react, but its body refused to respond. It was too weak, too tired, too close to the end. The man knelt down, still keeping some distance. His eyes softened as he looked at the creature. Up close, the damage was worse. The wing was badly torn. One of its legs was injured. There were deep cuts across its side. This dragon had not just fallen. It had fought and lost. The man reached slowly into a small bag, tied it aside. The dragon watched closely, its eyes sharp despite the pain. He pulled out a piece of cloth. Clean, carefully folded. Then another item, a small container. The smell of herbs filled the air. Strange, but not dangerous. The man looked at the dragon again. Then slowly, he moved closer, close enough now to touch. The dragon let out a low warning sound. Weak, but real. The man paused, waited. He did not rush. He did not force anything. Seconds passed. Long. Heavy. Then, slowly, the warning stopped. The dragon didn't move, didn't attack. It just watched. That was enough. The man reached out, slowly, gently. His hand touched the dragon's side. The dragon flinched. Its muscles tightened, but it didn't strike. The man pulled his hand back slightly, then tried again, this time softer, careful not to cause pain. He pressed the cloth gently against one of the wounds. Cleaning it, the dragon let out a quiet sound, not anger, not fear, pain, but it didn't pull away. It let him continue. The man worked slowly, cleaning the blood, wrapping the wound. His hands were steady, focused. He had done this before. Maybe not for a dragon, but for something hurt, something in need. The dragon's eyes followed every movement, still confused, still unsure. But something was changing. This human, he was not acting like a predator. He was not taking advantage. He was helping. The man moved to the wing, the worst injury. He examined it carefully, his face serious. Then he began to wrap it as best as he could. It wasn't perfect, but it was something. The dragon winced again, its body shaking slightly from pain. The man stopped, waited, let it breathe, then continued. Slow, patient. Time passed. The jungle stayed quiet. No roars, no threats, just the soft sound of movement and breathing. Finally, the man leaned back slightly. The worst was done. The dragon was still weak, still unable to move much, but the bleeding had slowed, the pain less sharp. For the first time, it had a chance. The man sat down on the ground, not too close, not too far. He didn't try to touch it again. He just stayed there, quiet, still, letting the moment settle. The dragon watched him. Its breathing slowly became calmer. Its eyes no longer filled with panic. But something else, something new, trust or the beginning of it. It lowered its head slowly, carefully, not in fear, not in defeat, but in exhaustion. Its large head moved closer, inch by inch, until it rested on the ground near the man, close enough to feel his presence, close enough to know he was still there. The man didn't move, didn't speak. He just sat beside it. Two very different beings. In a jungle full of danger. Together, the dragon closed its eyes. Not fully, just enough to rest. And for the first time since the attack, it was not afraid, because the one thing it did not understand, the one thing that made no sense, was now the only thing keeping it alive. A human who chose not to kill. A human who chose to stay. The jungle did not stay quiet for long. The man felt it before he heard it. A change in the air. A tension. Then a distant growl. Low, familiar, and coming back. His eyes opened slowly. He turned his head toward the trees. They were returning. The dinosaurs. Behind him, the dragon stirred. Its body shifted slightly, still weak, but no longer completely still. It had rested. It had survived. But now, the danger was back. The growls grew louder. Branches moved. Heavy steps shook the ground once again. The man stood up, slowly, calmly. He reached for the torch, now only a weak flame, and lifted it again. His eyes were sharp, focused, ready. He stepped forward, placing himself between the dragon and the jungle, just like before. But this time, he was not alone. Behind him, the dragon pushed itself up. It struggled. Its legs shook. Pain ran through its body. But it did not stop. It would not stay down again. Not now. Not after everything. With a weak but determined motion, it rose, standing, barely, but standing. The man glanced back for a moment. Their eyes met. No fear, no confusion. Something had changed. Then the dinosaurs emerged, one by one, from the shadows, from the trees, from every direction. The same pack, but different now, slower, more careful. Their leader stepped forward again. Its legs showed signs of injury. Its movements were not as strong as before, but its eyes, still dangerous, still watching. The man tightened his grip on the torch. The dragon stepped forward beside him, not behind, beside. Its body trembled, but it stood tall as it could. The dinosaurs stopped. They had expected weakness, easy prey, but what they saw now was something else. The man did not move back. The dragon did not fall. They stood together. The jungle held its breath again. The leader growled, a deep warning sound, but it did not charge. Not yet. The pack spread out slowly, testing, watching, waiting. The man raised the torch slightly. The flame flickered, small but alive. The dragon inhaled deeply. Its chest expanded. Pain followed, but it held the breath. Then it roared. This time it was not weak. It was not broken. It was not afraid. The sound echoed through the jungle, loud, sharp, alive, a true roar. The dinosaurs froze, every single one. The sound hit them harder than fire, because this was not just a wounded creature anymore. This was a dragon, and it was standing. The leader stepped back, just one step, but it was enough. The others noticed. The balance shifted again. The man took one step forward. The dragon matched him. Two figures, different in every way, but united. The message was clear. This was no longer a hunt. This was a fight, and it would not be easy. The leader let out another growl, but it sounded different now, less certain, less commanding. The pack hesitated. Their formation weakened. Their confidence broke. They had come back expecting fear. Instead, they found resistance, strength, something they did not understand, something they could not predict. The dragon lowered its head slightly, staring directly at the leader. Its eyes burned with quiet fire, not anger, not rage, but will, the will to live, the will to stand. The man stayed beside it, silent but firm. He did not need to roar. He did not need to show teeth. His presence was enough. Together, they were something new, something the jungle had never seen before. The leader took another step back, then another. A low sound escaped its throat, not a command, a decision. The pack began to retreat, slowly at first, then faster, backing away into the trees, into the shadows. Gone. This time, they did not look back. The jungle became silent once more, but this silence was different, not filled with fear, but with something else. Respect. The man lowered the torch. The flame flickered one last time before fading. The dragon stood still for a moment longer, then slowly turned its head. It looked at the man, not as prey, not as something small or weak, but as something else. An ally. It lowered its head gently. A quiet gesture. Simple, clear, respect. The man looked at the dragon. Then he smiled, just a little. No words. None were needed. They stood there for a moment. Two survivors. Two fighters. From different worlds. Bound by one choice. To stand. Even when everything said to run. The wind moved softly through the trees. The jungle watched. And remembered. Because on that day, something changed. On that day, the jungle learned something new. Humans don't rule by strength. They change the world by standing when no one else will.